Now we're going to take the last shape and we're going to do a much more dramatic version just to show you the variations that can be done using, again, the same technique. Might I recommend that you go ahead and you pick up a mannequin. In fact, I'll put a link in the description of the mannequins I prefer. Let's start with the back. And just to make this interesting, rather than using shears or razor, this time I'll use clippers. Now, because the hair is so very thick, I'm going to use a monster clip with which to work, because that will really help me to control the hair quite easily. Is that in focus? That could be better in focus, couldn't it? Okay, so I'm going to start it just above the occipital bone. Just above or at the top of the ear. Take my sectioning and clip that out of the way. This you can do one of two ways. You could begin by simply taking all the weight out of it at once or experimenting with it. I suggest you experiment with it so that you can see how it changes it. Start about an inch or two down. What I'm looking for is thickness through here. I want to make sure I don't take out too much weight through the bottom, okay? So let's go just a little bit less. That's better. Now I can't quite see through it. Yeah, I like that better. I'm going to come through here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut across like so. I'm going to encourage you, try smaller sections, add as much as you want to see the effect. I know what I'm looking for, so I'm going for it. My preference for clipper cutting is always to use anywhere between a 3/0 to a 5/0 blade. In other words, as smooth as possible. I prefer to do that. Now that can bog down the hair if you need to use something that has more coarseness to it so it can cut thicker hair. You can always start that way. I just use smaller sections. So now you can see that creates a fairly squared effect, doesn't it? And it really kind of cuts that right on down just the way I want it. That's also going to give me an opportunity to come in through here, because I want to create more of a softer, more feminine shape. So I'm going to bring this, I'm going to start cutting these right at the same line. It needs to be see-through. I got to be able to see where this is coming from. So I come in through here. Yep, there we go. Everyone brought down to it. Very slight elevation to round that off. Notice that my line here is coming across to almost the top of the ear there. This section here is intersecting right here. Well, so how I'm going to do this is I'm going to grab this section, bring it square to the back this way so that I'm standing center of the head. I then cut it straight across. Like so. It gives me a nice arch, doesn't it? Next section is coming through here. And I'm debating about how thick I want this. So I'm going to come on through here and go down, take a look. That could be thicker. A little thicker. Yeah, let's do that. What I did was I came in, brought it back. I'm standing about center of the head, in the back. Because I want that thickness. Now going parallel along the side from the back toward the front, I'm going to take a thin section and using a horizontal line, I'm going to elevate it and start a new guide. This is going to be similar to the way I cut the back. At least on this side of the haircut it is. Now one at a time, all the hair you see held up in the clip is going to be brought down to this guide and cut parallel to the floor here with a gentle blending as we go along. And then when I'm completely done, I'll make sure there's no line. A weight line, yes, but not a ledge. You may also notice that as I finish it up, I take the back portion of that closer to the back of the head and I hold it toward the original guide as I was before, and then make sure I take off that little bit of corner there. Now you can see the weight of the line. Come a little bit to the back so I can get rid of that corner. Over direct that part back just a little bit. Now I've got a much stronger line, as you can see, right through here. Now what I want to do is, you see my little bit of ledge right here. I come in through here, bring it forward. Cutting at this angle removes, on the interior, removes the weight. So when you drop it, it collapses and disappears. I'm going to take one more section from behind the ear, bring it forward to in front to the back of the ear, and that's going to be my last section. Now the side view. Okay, now we've taken this to a totally different level using the same kind of technique, and then I'll decide here if I'm going to change that texture or not as I go along. But now what I want to do is I want to take the left side, the cut, and I want to integrate something entirely different. I don't want it to necessarily be the exact same movement or motion. I'm going to come through here first, check my density. How thick is it? Just gently using the interior of my blade, kind of soften that in. Taking the interior corner here and coming up will help that to soften that way. Okay, let's see what we've got here. See, because this density you can see is stopping here. It's not affecting that. And I want to go fairly aggressive on this side. That's nice, I like it, but on this side I want to be more aggressive with it. And why is that? Well, because we want something different, don't we? So let's leave that alone. And then this time what I'm going to do, instead of clippers, is I'm going to use my shears. And the shears, I'm going to take that up here. Now look how gentle that blend is. The angle of the comb is not straight, it is tipped. So it goes slightly longer here. Into here, that's too much. Go up higher. There we go. Now you can see it even more. That's a different line than the other side. So the interior weight is creating asymmetry. I'm going to take my section and I'm going to point cut it. Careful to leave the line at an angle. Remember what we said before about the eye. The shear goes here, the butt of the blade goes out so that this comes away from the eyeball, and then just kind of take and tie that in. Okay, now, how am I doing this? I'm taking a section. This isn't too terribly thick, so let's go ahead and grab the whole thing, okay? All right, so I'm taking the entire section here. I'm grabbing it from up high because that's where the length of it is. As I do that, I can see where the bang length is here, right? So I'm bringing that this direction. Now I have a nice angled line. If I over direct it up so it's softer, and I cut it to there and I release it, now that line is going this way instead of this way or this way. It's going this way, and that's what I want, a nice blended line. Different from the other side. Gotta love that confusing feeling of something that is asymmetrical. Careful not to shorten the length, but just blend that on in. Now this gives me just a little bit of asymmetry in the bang. Not too much. A little shorter. Nice broad angle here.